I'm audible and visible, please give me a quick thumbs up if my audio video is clear to all of you. Aim in the sky, Ria, Lega, Namita, Jerry, Deepthi, everyone, please give me a thumbs up if my audio video is clear. And today we will be discussing a new pattern, a new questions related to histopathology. I hope everybody have received the workbook. I request all of you to please open that workbook on another mobile, laptop, or any other electronic device. If you have print out of that workbook, that will be best. Please give me a thumbs up if all of you have the workbook. And I'm very sorry, the background is a little bit different. The light is not much today because I'm taking the class from some different place, and that is why you can see a little bit difference in the video quality and all. So please give me a quick thumbs up if everything is fine. My audio video is clear, and only 4 students have given me a thumbs up related to workbook. How many of you have your workbooks with you? And if not, just get it downloaded or just have it from the group. Yes. Okay. So before starting the today's session, I just which workbook, ma'am? Okay. So Ria. I have forwarded a workbook in the Telegram group. Okay, what's workbook? Okay, no issues. I hope everybody is on the Telegram group, whether it's my Telegram group or it's an Academy Need PG Telegram group. Just go there and get the PDF. I have today only I have forwarded it. I think 15 minutes back. Yesterday also I have forwarded it. So please take that workbook with you. If you have 2 mobiles with you or 2 electronic devices, try to take it, the one with you. Yes, ready with it. Very nice, all of you. So I'm giving you some time. Meanwhile, I'll discuss the courses which is about to start. So all the students who have not got their workbooks till now, please download it. Use another electronic device to have your workbook with you. Okay? Clear, all of you? So welcome all of you in this session of dermatology. I'm Dr. Cheshta Agarwal, your NEET PG educator on an academy. Now everybody is knowing that we are going on with an offer that is 3+1. If you use the Unacademy or if you take the Unacademy subscription using my referral code that is Dr. Cheshta YT, you will get an additional 3 month free. Sorry, not 3 months. You will get additional 1 month free if you take a 3 month subscription. And I think everybody knows that we don't have any 1 month subscriptions from now. So you have only the 3 month subscriptions and you will get a 1 month free if you use the code Dr. Cheshta YT. So whosoever is thinking of getting an academy, I see many students, they ask the other students, anybody wants to exchange my, this notes with an academy, that notes with an academy. So please don't wait, don't waste time because you never know when this offer will end. And this is actually a very good offer. Similar to this, we have another offer, and this is for those who will be giving their exam in 2022. All those students who will be giving their exam in 2022, that is next onwards, I request you to please get the subscription of an academy using the referral code Dr. Cheshta YT, because right now we are going on with amazing discounts on iconic subscription, which gives you the access of an academy as well as prep letter. Humble request to all my dear students to please subscribe because you may not get this offer later on. Here, this offer is only for the first 500 students, so please take the benefit. So we already have 100 students. Very nice. I hope everyone is ready with their workbooks. Please give me a thumbs up. Again, repeating, today only I have forwarded a workbook on the Telegram groups of Unacademy as well as my Telegram group. Whatever you are a part of, please get your workbook ready with you. Okay. So starting with the histopathology made easy, very, very important, or we should say that is the topic of an hour. You can get the questions of histopathology, pure histopathology questions. So I will tell you each and everything related to histopathology, starting with the basics. How does the normal skin looks like? So Pani, have any doubt? Pani, have written my name. Anyone has any doubt, please feel free to ask. Before starting the class, anyone has any doubt, please feel free to ask. Chalo, starting with the normal skin. So everyone ready with your workbook, please open this page if you are ready with your workbook. How does the normal skin looks like? Again, I'm saying that I have forwarded a PDF Today as well as yesterday, I've forwarded a PDF on the Telegram groups. So please download that PDF, take that PDF in another electronic device, whether it is mobile, laptop, iPad, whatever you have, and please keep it along with you. Okay, because this is very important. When I will be telling you the disease subsequently, you should know how does the normal skin look like. So please keep that with you, all of you. Now coming to the normal skin. Now, if you take a biopsy from you or from me, how does the skin looks on the biopsy? So everybody knows what are the parts of skin. Anyone can tell me what are the parts in which the skin has been divided? Anyone? Sakshi, Nilofar, Shrishti, Ajay, Sanya. Very nice. So there are three parts in which the skin has been divided. The superficial part is called as epidermis. Superficial part is called as epidermis. Then you have dermis. And what is the lowermost part? It is the hypodermis, or it is also called as subcutaneous tissue, either hypodermis or subcutaneous tissue. Now, please look at this picture, the histopathological image which is shown here. This part is the epidermis. I'll use a different color pen. This is epidermis. This is dermis. And the subcutaneous tissue is not shown in this image. I will show it after some time. So this is how the epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous tissue looks like. Please look at this image, very, very important. Okay, so I am zooming this image for all of you. Okay, so now I think everybody knows that how is the junction of epidermis with dermis? Is it straight or is it in curves? Anyone? How does the dermoepidermal junction looks like? Yes. So please remember, dermoepidermal junction is not smooth. It is present in folds like this. And why these folds are given? To provide a proper stability to the attachment. If it is straight like this, then any lateral pressure or any trauma to the skin can give rise to removal of the skin from the underlying dermis, or removal of the epidermis for the dermis. And that is why you have these type of rugosity which is present on the skin. Now, can you tell me what is this part? Anyone? What is this part? The downward projections of epidermis is called as rete ridges. Please listen to me what I'm saying. The downward projections of the downward projections of epidermis is called as rete ridges, and the upward projections of the dermis, it is called as dermal papilla. Understood the difference between both? The extensions, so these are the extensions of the epidermis, these are called as rete, and these are the extensions of the dermis, this is called as dermal papilla. So they are present somewhat like this. And that is what is shown here. I hope you can make it out. These are the downward projections. These downward projections are the rete, and these upward projections are the dermal papilla. Okay, so you have rete ridges and dermal papilla at the dermoepidermal junction. Starting with the discussion of epidermis. Now, first of all, tell me how many layers do you see in epidermis? If you take the biopsy from here, listen to me carefully. If you take biopsy from the dorsal part of the palm, or what do you say, the anywhere from your upper limb, how many layers do you have in epidermis? Is it 5 or it is 4? I'm talking about this part. I'm talking about this part. I'm not talking about this part. Yes, please remember you have total 4 layers all over your body except palm and sole. So this is a histopathological image of a skin other than palm and sole. And which is that layer which is extra in your palmoplantar skin? It is stratum lucidum. You do not see stratum lucidum anywhere other than palm and sole. Okay. And what is the location of stratum lucidum? Can you tell me the answer of stratum lucidum location? It is present between which layer? Very nice. It is present between stratum granulosum and stratum corneum, somewhere here. Okay. I hope this is clear to everyone. Now, coming with the outermost or the topmost layer of epidermis, which is called as stratum corneum. It is a nucleated cell layer, and the cells are flattened. I hope everybody knows about this. I've already discussed this in my plus course, that when the cell moves upward from the stratum basale to the upper layer, the intracellular organelles are lost and the cell starts becoming flat. And why it does this? To make a proper barrier. So please remember the stratum corneum, they are anucleated and flattened cell. Now please look at this image. Can you see? This thickness is the stratum corneum. These are flat, anucleated. There is no nucleus which is present in this layer. So these are anucleated flat cell layer. Now, how many layers will you see? Please remember, in normal condition, you can see around 4 to 8 or even 5 to 10 layers of stratum corneum, and it is arranged in a loose basket weave pattern. I hope you have seen the basket weave. There are basket weaved boxes which are available in the market. So they have loosely woven basket weave pattern which is seen in the normal stratum corneum. Is this clear or not? All of you give me a thumbs up if you are clear with this. Okay. Yes. So we are not talking about anything other than dermatology right now, Sneha. You might have seen this in anywhere else also, but in dermatology, remember, stratum corneum, it is normally present as a 4 to 8 layer flattened cell, which is present in a loose basket weave pattern. Now, there are two terminologies which you all have to remember with respect to stratum corneum. What are those two terminologies? One is hyperkeratosis and another is parakeratosis. Please remember what I'm telling. Hyperkeratosis and parakeratosis. Now, what do you mean by hyperkeratosis? It means there is increase in thickness of the skin or increase in thickness of stratum corneum. And what do you mean by parakeratosis? It means presence of nucleus in the stratum corneum layer. I've told you, normally you don't have any nucleus, but in parakeratosis, you tend to have nucleus in the stratum corneum layer. Please give me a quick thumbs up if everybody have understood till here. Now, this is how the normal. Now, everybody, I want all of you, I want everyone to please open this page on your workbook. Please try to open this page on your workbook. And now I'm showing you how does the normal stratum corneum differs from hyperkeratotic and parakeratotic skin. Now please concentrate here, all of you. How does stratum corneum look? Please compare it with that of the normal skin, which is open in your workbook. I hope you can make the change. In the normal skin, you have basket weave pattern, which is loosely attached to each other. Understood or not? Please give me a quick thumbs up to all of you. Give me a quick thumbs up if you can compare the normal basket weave pattern of stratum corneum from that of compact pattern of hyperkeratosis. So hyperkeratosis is compact while the normal stratum corneum is basket weave pattern. I hope this is clear to all of you. And for all those who don't have any workbook with them right now, I'm again putting this image. Look at this image. Look at this image. How loosely the cells of stratum corneum are present. But now compare this image with that of the pathological image which is shown here. I think you can easily make the difference. Now, please look at this red dots. Sorry, the blue dots. Can you see these blue dots? Compare it with that of the normal skin. Please look at your workbook. Compare it with that of normal skin. Do you see any blue dots in your normal skin? The answer is no, because this is a pathological condition which is called as parakeratosis. Clear or not, all of you? Please give me a quick thumbs up. Everyone, we have 131 students with us right now live. I want a thumbs up from each and every one of you if you understood what is parakeratosis and what is hyperkeratosis. Very, very frequently asked questions. Okay, I will tell you in some time what are the examples of both of them, but for now you just have to remember that in which condition you will see this condition. Now, another histopathological entity which is used with respect to stratum corneum, the word which is used is the micromunro abscess. So these three pathological terms are used with respect to stratum corneum. Can you tell me what is micromunro abscess and where do you see micromunro abscess? So micromunro abscess means collection of neutrophils inside the stratum corneum. What is it? Collection of neutrophils in stratum corneum. These three terminologies frequently asked in your exam: micromunro abscess, parakeratosis, and hyperkeratosis. And I do have an image which shows the collection. Can you see here? Can you see this collection? There is a group of blue dots which are present here, confined to this area only. Otherwise, you have diffuse blue dots, but here you have comparatively larger blue dots. These are nothing but micro Munro abscess, which is classical of psoriasis. And this is a very classical histopathological image of psoriasis. So you can get in your exam the questions which is very similar to this. I'm giving you 15 seconds to solve. I think it's an easy question now. You can see hyperkeratosis, parakeratosis, micromunro abscess, and can anybody tell me two more findings which are seen in this image which favors the diagnosis of psoriasis? Anybody can tell me two more conditions which is shown in this image? Very nice, all of you. What are the two more conditions? Sneha is saying sawtoothing of reiterages. Array, there is no sawtoothing here. What is these? This is not sawtoothing. This is dermal papillomatosis, and there is suprapapillary thinning. What do you mean by dermal papillomatosis? In the normal skin, please look at the normal skin on your workbook. All of you, the normal skin is like this. Please look at the normal skin. The rete ridges and the dermal papilla are like this. But what happens in the patient of psoriasis? Because of hyperproliferation, the rete ridges becomes like this and the dermal papilla become like this. Understood the difference in both of them? Please give me a quick thumbs up if you understood. What is the change? Yes, very nice. So there is papillomatosis, which means that dermal papilla have enlarged. And please look at the epidermis, which is present over the papilla. So the epidermis, which is present over the papilla, is thinned out, and this is called as suprapapillary thinning. And this is responsible for pinpoint bleeding, which is seen while doing the Auspit sign in the patient of psoriasis. Clear or not? Please give me a quick thumbs up if this question is clear. Very important. Psoriasis, histopathology, they can ask you questions from anywhere. Okay, very, very important. Now, somebody is asking about the Kogos micropustule. Please wait for some more time. I have a proper image for Kogos micropustule also. But for now, the only purpose was to tell you how does hyperkeratosis look like, how does parakeratosis look like, and how does micromunro look like. Okay? So these three are the problems which can be seen with respect to the stratum corneum. Clear or not, all of you? Please give me a quick thumbs up. So we are done with the discussion of stratum corneum. I'm rubbing this for all of you so that we can have a better view. Okay. Starting with the second layer, that is stratum granulosum. Can you tell me what is the another name for stratum granulosum? Anyone? What is the another name for stratum granulosum? Can anybody tell me the answer? It is also called as granular cell layer. Very easy. It is also called as granular cell layer. And why it is called as granular cell layer? Because it consists of granules, two types, keratohyalin granules and odylin bodies. Okay. Because of presence of these granules, they are called as granular cell layer. Now, please look at this hyperpigmented layer which is seen here. Can you follow my pointer, all of you? Give me a quick thumbs up if you can follow this. Very thin. It is 2 to 3 layer thick. So stratum granulosum, this is hyperpigmented, or we should say it is more blue in color. And this is because of presence of granules in them. You have only 2 to 3 layers of stratum granulosum in your normal skin. Understood this or not? Please give me a thumbs up if you understood. So with respect to stratum granulosum, two terminologies are very frequently asked. Please share your group link so that we can download the class PDF. Abhishek, I have also forwarded the PDF in the Unacademy NEET PG Telegram group. You can also download it from there. Okay, and the class PDF you will get from the Unacademy app. You have to download the Unacademy app, go to my profile, Dr. Cheshta, and then you can easily download the today's PDF. Okay, it's freely available. Yes, very nice, Pranav. I've already told you the answer. So stratum granulosum, the two histopathological terminologies are Hypergranulosis, I think it's a very obvious term. Hyper means you have increase in stratum granulosum, and the second is hypo. So in any condition where you have more than 2 to 3 layers, it is called as hyper. And anywhere where you have less than 2 layers or less than 1 layers or absence, it is called as agranulosis or hypogranulosis. Now, can you tell me what is that condition where you have hypergranulosis? Anyone can tell me the answer. Very nice. YY, Dr. Fatima, Ina, Shreya, Sana. Very nice, all my dear students. The characteristic example is lichen planus. Anybody can tell me one more? I have told you. Can you tell me one more example other than lichen planus? No, no, not the lichenoid. Anything other than that? Something related to genodermatosis where you have dry skin, fish-like scales. I've given you sufficient hint. Where do you get fish-like scales? In X-linked ichthyosis, not ichthyosis vulgaris. Arey bhai, please don't do that. I've already discussed that. In ichthyosis vulgaris, you have hypogranulosis or agranulosis, but in X-linked ichthyosis, you have hypergranulosis. Agreed with me or not? Please give me a quick thumbs up. If all of you agree with me, this is very, very important. Okay. Yes, Sana, you're right. Hypo is in psoriasis. Now, first, we will see how hypergranulosis look like. I want all of you to please open the page where I've shown the normal skin. Please open this on your workbook. All of you, please open this slide on your workbook to compare the normal stratum granulosum from that of hypergranulosis. So, how does hypergranulosis look like? Can you compare that and this one? Can you compare that image and this image? So thick. Stratum granulosum is so thick here. Please give me a thumbs up if all of you can make this out. Please give me a thumbs up if you can make it out that in the normal histopathology, it is so thin. It is so thin which is present like this. But in the patients of lichen planus, you have increase in the thickness, and this thickening is wedge shape. Sana, again, I'm repeating, sawtoothing is not with respect to the stratum granulosum. No. Stratum granulosum is not sawtoothing. Sawtoothing is here. Can you see this? What are these? These are rete ridges. Okay, so rete ridges shows the sawtoothing, but the stratum granulosum is showing you wedging. I hope you know what does wedge means. So wedge means a slight projections. So this is called as wedge shape hypergranulosis. I hope this is clear to all of you. Please give me a thumbs up, all my dear student, if this point is clear. Wedge shape hypergranulosis in the patients of lichen planus. Okay? And can you tell me how does wedge shape hypergranulosis looks clinically? How does it looks clinically? Anyone? When you look at the lichen planus, how can you see the wedge-shaped hypergranulosis? Very nice. It will give white lacy pattern, which is called as Wickham striae. So we are done with another important point that Wickham striae, which is seen over the lesions of lichen planus, are nothing but the hypergranulosis, which is seen in the patients of lichen planus. I hope this is clear to all of you. Please give me a quick thumbs up. I think there is no confusion. Please give me a thumbs up. So hypergranulosis is very classical in the patients of lichen planus, also in the patients of X-linked ichthyosis. And hypogranulosis means there is no stratum granulosum. Please compare this with your normal histopathology. Please compare this image with the normal histopathology which is given on your workbook. Can you see any stratum granulosum here? No, there is no stratum granulosum in a patient of psoriasis. Clear? I think now nobody will get confused. Hypergranulosis, hypogranulosis, hyperkeratosis, parakeratosis. We are done with the four histopathological terminologies related to stratum corneum and stratum granulosa. Only two students have given me thumbs up. We have 130 students on an average, 130 students. Please give me a quick thumbs up, all of you. Very nice, all my dear students. Coming to the third layer of the today's session, and that is stratum spinosum. Now, stratum spinosum is a very interesting layer. Can you tell me with what respect it is interesting? Anyone? What is so interesting about stratum spinosum? Yes. First point is, as Ria said, that it is the thickest layer. I think everybody can make out that this is the thickest layer of the skin. Anyone has any confusion with this point? Please give me a thumbs up if all of you agree that this is considered to be the thickest layer. The second point is raised by many of you, that is Parnita is saying the same thing, Sneha Ishiara. The cells of stratum spinosum, they are prickle shaped. Okay, so they are somewhat like this. They are prickle shaped. They have horn like projections which are coming out. And that is why cells of stratum spinosum is sometimes also called as prickle cell, and this layer is also called as prickle cell layer. And histopathologically, these cells have given a prefix, and that is acantha. Understood or not? So they have given a prefix that is called as acantha. I will tell you how it is related, but before that, please remember we will be reading two terminologies. One is acanthosis and the second is acantholysis. So everybody just remember that wherever the word acantha is used, please think of stratum spinosum in your mind. Clear with this point, all of you? Wherever they give you acantha, matlab stratum spinosum ke बारे में बात है. It means they are talking about stratum spinosum. Now, why these cells are polygonal or why these cells have these spiny projections coming out of them? Because they consist of a very characteristic structure, or they consist of a glue which attach the two surrounding or two neighboring cells. And what is this glue made up of? Anyone? Yes, that glue is made up of desmosome. So this glue connects the neighboring cells. So please remember the spiny projections of stratum spinosum contain the desmosome, which is very, very important. Okay, so where you have maximum desmosome, anyone? Where do you have maximum desmosomes in the epidermis? Remember, the answer becomes stratum spinosum. I'm telling you maximum. It means that you do see desmosome in the other layers also, like stratum basale, stratum granulosum, and even stratum corneum. So please remember, all my dear students, it is not that the desmosome is only present in stratum spinosum. It's that it is only present in maximum quantity in stratum spinosum, but you do see presence of desmosome in the stratum basale, granulosum, and corneum layer as well. Okay, clear है all of you? Chalo. Now, there are two terminologies. One is acanthosis. Acanthosis means, anyone? Acanthosis means increase in thickness of stratum spinosum. What is acanthosis? It is increase in thickness of stratum spinosum. And what is acantholysis? It means you have separation of the cells of, I told you they are connected to each other with the help of desmosome. But in acantholysis, there is separation of cells of or the keratinocytes of the stratum spinosum layer. Is this clear or not, all of you? Very simple, two terminologies, acanthosis and acantholysis. Very, very important. Now, first of all, we will be showing you how does acantholysis looks like. No, this is not shown here. Where is that image where you have acantholysis? Yes, somewhere here. Please look at this image. I hope you all can look at this image. Can you tell me or can you see that stratum basale is here? Can you see that stratum basale is here? And in this stratum spinosum, you have separation of the cells. Please give me a quick thumbs up if you can make this out. You can see that there are round cells. Can you see there are round cells which are present inside the blister cavity? Now, how come these spiny cells became round? Anyone? We have just now discussed that you have spiny projections in the stratum spinosum, but why they become round on getting separated? This is because whenever there is no surface tension, the cell attain a shape with minimum surface tension because it is now no more attached to the surrounding cell. So it will become round in shape. This is the shape which has minimum surface tension, and that is why it becomes round. And this is called as acantholytic cells. Clear or not, all of you? I hope I'm able to explain this properly. Acantholysis means there is separation of the cells, which can be because of damage to the desmosomes, or it can be because of damage to the keratinocyte. So we have two type of acantholysis, primary and secondary. In primary, the separation occurs because the glue which is present in between is lost. And the secondary means you have separation of the cell because of damage to the keratinocyte, for example, in the viral blisters. So both primary and secondary, you see the separation in the stratum spinosum layer. I hope this is clear to all of you. Chalo, we will be doing few questions, and I think then this will help you all. Please answer this question, all of you. A very, very easy and interesting question. I'm giving you 30 seconds. In which of the following condition this arrow most frequently seen? So they have shown you the disease which is present in this condition. Can you tell me what is the arrow pointing towards? Anyone? Very nice. So the arrow is pointing towards the parakeratosis. So the question is asking among which of the following you see presence of parakeratosis, and the answer is actinic keratosis. Understood or not? Please give me a quick thumbs up if everyone have understood. We have around 52% of the total student who have answered this. So this is the stratum corneum layer. This is the stratum granulosum. Then this is the stratum spinosum. And these are the retae and the dermal papilla. Clear or not, all of you? Please give me a thumbs up if this is clear. Yes, very nice. Now let's move to the another question. Okay. Okay, so before going to another question, I want to tell you one more feature. But anyways, chalo. You have to tell me what is this a feature of. Please look at the histopathological image. If you want, I can zoom this image. I can zoom this image for all of you. Please look at this image. Can you tell me in which layer you have the pathology? Please compare this image with the normal skin which is seen in your workbooks. Please compare this image with the normal skin. Can you tell me in which layer you have the defect? Yes, in stratum spinosum. So we are clear with one point that you have defect in the stratum spinosum. But what is the defect here? Please look at this image. Okay. So I am zooming this, all of you. This is the stratum corneum. Then this hyper pigmented or more blue in color is stratum granulosum. Now this is stratum spinosum and the lowermost is the stratum basale. Okay. Now if you see here, can you see that there is more white space which is seen? Here you are not able to see any whitish space, but here there are many white spaces which are present in between the cells. Yes, I think everybody can make this out. Please give me a quick thumbs up if you can make it out. So normally stratum spinosum cells which are polygonal, they are connected to each other like this. There is no free space in between them. They are connected to each other like this. But what happens? Sometimes they develop spacing in between them, and in these spacing you have accumulation of fluid. So what is this? This is intercellular edema. Intercellular edema. Understood? In between the cell you have intercellular edema, which is called as spongiosis, and spongiosis is a feature of eczema. acute eczema. Clear or not? All of you, please give me a quick thumbs up if this is clear. So you have intercellular edema in the patient of eczema, that is acute eczema. Please give me a quick thumbs up if this is clear. Treatment eczemas, you can give steroids. Depending upon the severity, the treatment varies. Okay, there is one more condition where you have intracellular edema. Can you tell me in which condition you will see intracellular edema, which is also called as ballooning degeneration? Anyone? Where do you see intracellular edema or ballooning degeneration? Very nice. The intracellular edema or ballooning degeneration is seen in the viral infection. Can you see these lesions? Can you differentiate the cell here? You see the presence of fluid inside the cell. Please give me a thumbs up if you can easily differentiate the previous image from this image. Can you see presence of fluid inside the cell? This is called as intracellular edema. Okay. Uh, Habibullah, these are Zang cell? No. Zang cells are completely different. I will tell you how Zang cell differ from the ballooning degeneration. Please look at this image. There are three terminologies. One is intercellular edema. Intercellular means there is separation of the cells of stratum spinosum like this. Okay, there is separation, and because of this separation there is collection of fluid in between. This is called as intercellular edema, which is called as ballooning degeneration. Now what happens there is whenever you have separation of the cells because of damage to the glue, it converts into round cells. Now please remember these are similar in size to that of the normal keratinocyte, but in ballooning degeneration, because of increase in the intracellular fluid, they become large in size like this. They become like a balloon. Okay, and the nucleus is pushed toward one side because of the extra fluid which is present inside them. Okay, so this is how the ballooning degeneration looks like, which is seen in the viral infection. But the acantholytic cells are the round cells with the large central nucleus, perinuclear halo, hyperchromic nucleus like this. Understood all of you the difference between the Zang cell and the ballooning degeneration? Please give me a quick thumbs up, all my dear students. Everyone, I hope everyone is understanding this. Nobody is getting confused. Chalo, very nice, all of you. Very well done. Now we have few more questions for everyone. Yes, here is another question. Please answer this question, all of you. I'm very happy to see the today's strength. We are crossing 150 all the time. So very nice, all of you. Yes, so very well done, Shetaj, Ishiara, Dr. Fatima. Then we have Shreya, Krishnoi, Mr. Rose, Dr. Shubhrasmita, Vishnupriya. Very nice. Is it a 1 hour class? Yes, Shubhrasmita. I've told you that this month I will be taking the 1 hour classes, no more half-an-hour class. Okay. Till now, whatever I have the information, it is the 1 hour class. Okay, chalo. So okay, so this question is very easy. Now, it's very clear that the level of split is just above the stratum basale. I hope you can make this out that the level of split is just above the stratum basale. And if you remember, I've told you that suprabasal clefting is seen in the patient of pemphigus vulgaris. So the correct answer is option number 4. Now, everybody, I want you to go back to the normal histopathology. Please go back to the normal histopathology. I'm zooming this image to everyone. Please have a look. Can you see that these stratum basal cells, they are single layer columnar epithelial cells? Can you make out? I don't know how clear that image is, but can you see these are the single layer? little more pigmented compared to the stratum spinosum. Please give me a thumbs up if everybody can make it out. Okay. So very important that stratum basale are the single layer cell. Now, another point why I'm telling you this is, suppose this is the basement membrane and the stratum basale cells are attached to each other like this. Okay. So these are the single layer of columnar cells which are present in the stratum basale. Now what happens? These stratum basales, they are connected to each other with a red color glue. What is this glue? Which connects the two adjacent stratum basale? Anyone? What is this glue which connects the two adjacent stratum basale? Anyone? Is this hemidesmosome? No. This is not hemidesmosome. There is another glue which is present here. So much of glue. So tell me what is orange and tell me what is green. Yes, very well done, all my dear student. The orange color is desmosome. And what is this green color? The green color is the hemidesmosome. Very well done, all my dear student. Orange is desmo and the green is hemidesmosome. So what happens in the patient of pemphigus? Which is the target antigen, hemidesmosome or desmosome? What is the target antigen in the patient of pemphigus? It is the orange color. So like this, you have loss of the intercellular glue in the patients of pemphigus. What happens? These cells, they remain attached to the stratum basale, but they get separated from each other like this, and because of this regularly arranged stratum basale separated from each other, they give a row of tombstone appearance. Ma'am, desmosomes or desmoglein same hai. Yes, Ria, very, very important. And Ria, I think there's a good news for all the students that we were doing the next batch for the plus course. I hope you all were live in that. So because of very limited duration given to me, we have extended that plus course. So please do attend my class starting from tomorrow. So I will be telling you vesiculobullous everything. Please remember, desmosome is made up of 5 components, and one of the component is desmoglein. Okay, Riya? One of the component is desmoglein. Chalo. All the subscribed students, I request you to please join my plus courses. There is a lot more to be understand or to be cleared in dermatology. It's not the special classes. Please do not depend only on the special classes because there is a lot in dermatology. You need to know a lot of things. Chalo. So very nice, all of you. So this is how the row of tombstone look like. You have regularly separated stratum basale because of the loss of the intercellular glue. Okay, all of you, very, very important, and that is what is asked in this question. Option number 4, that is pemphigus vulgaris. Okay, I think this is clear to all of you. Please give me a quick thumbs up. Very well done. Now, please look at the histopathology. Please look at the histopathology first. I don't want you to read the question because if you read the question, you don't require the histopathology. Please look at the histopathology first. Can you tell me what is the level of split? Anyone? Is it present inside the epidermis or below the epidermis? Anyone? Yes. So can you see stratum basale going upwards? Very easy to make out. The stratum basale, the whole thickness of the epidermis is present above the split. It means we are dealing with a subepidermal acantholytic disorder. I hope this is clear to all my dear students. Please give me a quick thumbs up. Very, very important session. I think this is very easy, and now you can easily answer the question, the subepidermal bulla, because I told you if you read the question, the answer becomes very easy. Okay, and the answer to this is pemphigoid, bullous pemphigoid. Okay, very nice, Ria, Abzal, all of you. Chalo, let's move to another question. I want all of you to please concentrate on the image first. Please concentrate on the image. Okay, Now, can you tell me where exactly you have the pathology? Anyone, don't tell me the answer. No, no, I don't want answers. Tell me the location of the disease. Is it inside the epidermis or below the epidermis? If it is below the epidermis, what is the location? Very nice. So, can you see these are the dermal papillae? This is the Rete ridges, this is the dermal papillae, and the disease is present only over the dermal papilla. And what is that condition where you have dermal papillary tip microabscesses? The answer becomes dermatitis herpetiformis. Clear or not? Please give me a thumbs up. Please give me a thumbs up. We have 120 students live. I want all of you to please say yes if you understood this or give me a thumbs up. Okay. Again, requesting please join my plus courses. Subscribe to an academy because mere attending the special classes are not enough. This is a golden opportunity for all of you because your exam has been postponed. All the counselors, whomever you know, all the counselors are saying only one thing, that if you get the benefit or if you utilize these 1 month or 1.5 month properly, you can easily cross whatever is your expectation, or you can easily beat a topper. Whomsoever you consider as topper, you can easily beat them. So please try to take the advantage. We all the educators on an academy are trying their best to help you out understanding the basics. Okay. So will the exam be in June, ma'am? Dr. Harish? No idea. No information by NBE yet. So it's better not to think about that. At least remember that you have 1 month. Assuming that you'll not have exam this month, please try to read complete the topic which is not done by you previously. Chalo. Uh, okay, FMG, there is no notice of any postponement now. So I have no idea about that as well. And I think the notices of the examination forms are also not clear right now. So, chalo. Can you answer this question? Extremely pruritic excoriated papules on the buttock with antibody against the epidermal transglutaminase. Very nice, Ishiara, Tirumalesha, Rakesh, Vishnupriya. Very well done. Again, simply looking at the histopathology, also you can answer this question. There is no confusion. It's a clear-cut case where you see suprapapillary collections of the infiltrate. Okay? Very nice, all of you. Very nice. Chalo, very nice. And let's move to the next question. Okay. So now comes another very important point. I want all of you to please focus on the image. Don't read the question. Today is the histopathological class. You don't need you don't need any question or theory to answer the question. Can you tell me the diagnosis looking at the histopathology? Anyone? You have the same images on your workbook, so you can easily zoom that. You can have a look. I've given you all the images on the workbook, so please download the workbook and do it. Can you tell me where is the defect? Which layer is defective here? Very nice, Ria. Very nice. So, can you see that the stratum basale is proliferating? How does the normal skin look like? Like this. But what is happening here? What is happening here? You have, agree with me or not? Please give me a thumbs up. So stratum basale is proliferating. Now again, look at the image, all of you. Look at the image. The stratum basale is proliferating. Agree with me or not? And at few places, it has even lost the attachment. and it have become nodule. Okay, so this is a classical case of basal cell carcinoma. And can you tell me what is this image showing you? What is this arrangement called as? Very nice. This is called as palisading arrangement. Very nice, all my dear students. Very important that this is a palisading arrangement and this is a basal cell carcinoma. I think now you can solve this question easily. Very nice, Mr. Rose, Kaustubh, Shaitas, Steffi, Rameshwar, Ria, Lega, Ishiara. Very well done, all of you. It's a very easy question. Please remember, histopathology of BCC can also be asked in your exam. Okay, chalo, good. Now we have few more images with us, which I need that everybody should know. Okay, can you tell me what is this an image of? Very nice. Actually, this is given. This should not be given because the left side image can give you or can confuse you or can give you the answer. Now, please look at this image. This is a very classical image of alopecia areata. Okay. Um, what color should I use? I think black color will go. This is the hair, like this. So this is the hair here also, and this is the hair here also. Okay. Now, can you see that surrounding the hair bulb, you have so many inflammatory infiltrate. Can you see this? I hope you can make out. These are the T lymphocytes which surrounds the hair bulb and it give an appearance which is called as swarm of bee. It is very classical of alopecia areata. Please remember swarm of bee appearance classical of alopecia areata. Very important for all of you to understand and to remember swarm of bee appearance. Is it clear? Nothing to explain. So I'm going towards the next question quickly. Please give me a quick thumbs up if this is clear. Yes. Should I go to the next question? Yes. Now, another image which I want all of you to look at is this. Now, can you tell me where exactly you have the problem? I know this is very important clue which is given. Is it Darier's, Shubhrasmita? Is it Darier's? No. What is this? Dilapidated brick wall appearance. Where do you see it? Hailey-Hailey disease. Okay. Now, how does the histopathology of Hailey-Hailey look like? Can you see this is the stratum basale? This is the stratum basale. And can you see just above the stratum basale, you have cleft, you have suprabasal acantholysis. Clear or not? Please give me a thumbs up. You have suprabasal acantholysis. And remember, in this space, you can see there are haphazardly arranged cells. Can you see the haphazard arrangement of the cells inside this cleft? This is called as dilapidated brick wall appearance. You have seen old houses, old constructions where you have haphazardly arranged bricks. That is called as dilapidated brick wall appearance. Very classical of Hailey-Hailey disease. And I also wanted to show the image of Darius disease here itself. And let me see where I have Darius disease. Yes. So this is how Darius disease image look like. Can you see stratum basale here? You have suprabasal acantholysis. And what is seen over here? Can you see these large eosinophilic bodies here? These are dyskeratotic bodies. So whenever you see suprabasal acantholysis with dyskeratotic bodies, this becomes a case of Darius disease. The one which is present superficial is called as grain, and the one which is present little bit deeper, it is called as cork and rond. Okay, understood? So you have suprabasal acantholysis in Darius as well as in Haley. But in Darius, you have dyskeratotic bodies, and in Haley disease, you have dilapidated brick wall appearance. Everyone, please give me a quick thumbs up. We have 100 students with us. I want a quick thumbs up from all of you. Please give me a quick thumbs up, all of you. Chalo. Now we have left with the histopathology of leprosy, which is very, very important. And I may not discuss or I may not complete that in the next 5 minutes. What should I do? Okay. So before that, I'll explain the histopathology of lichen planus. Are everyone okay with that? Lichen planus? Yes. So please look at the histopathology of lichen planus, which is very, very important. Now you will tell me where is the defect. Starting with the stratum corneum. Please tell me what is happening in the stratum corneum. Anyone? Yes. Stratum corneum is hyperkeratotic. What type? Basket weave or compact? Yes, it is compact. Do you see parakeratosis here? Do you see parakeratosis? The answer is no. You don't have any parakeratosis here. So the term which is given to this is orthokeratosis. Here, the term given to this is orthokeratosis. Now, what is the next feature here? We have already discussed wedge shape hypergranulosis. What about the rete? They are so pointed. Compare the rete of lichen planus with that of the normal skin. They are so pointed. And this pointed rete ridges is called as sawtoothing. Now look at this blue dot which is present at the dermoepidermal junction. Do you see these blue dots in your normal histopathology? Yes or no? The answer is no. So what is this? This is the band shape infiltrate, also called as interface dermatitis. Clear? Band shape infiltrate, also called as interface dermatitis. Very nice. Now this is the 10x magnification. We are zooming it and we are having a look at 40x magnification. What do you see in 40x? This is the stratum basal. Can you see presence of whitish structure inside the stratum basal? So you have hydropic degeneration of stratum basal. And this hydropic degeneration will give rise to dyskeratotic bodies, which are called as colloid or civet bodies. Colloid or civet bodies, I hope you can see it here. These are the colloid or civet bodies. Now, what happens with time? These degenerative bodies are lost and they leave behind the empty spaces, which is called as Max Joseph space. Please look at this image. These empty spaces are called as Max Joseph space, and through these empty spaces, the pigment falls down. The pigment tend to fall down, giving rise to dermal melanin, which is taken up by the melanophages, which are then called as melanophages. The macrophages are called as melanophages because they absorb the melanin which is present in the dermis. Clear or not, all of you? I think everybody have understood the today's session. Please give me a quick thumbs up, everyone. We are done with the today's class. I hope everyone have enjoyed it. If anyone has any confusion, please feel free to ask everyone. And please, I request all of you to subscribe to an academy using the referral code Dr. Cheshta Vaiti, because there are a lot of things which are present on Plus. Jerry, all the other students, PJ, everyone. PJ, leprosy, I cannot discuss today. I'll try to discuss this at some other point of time. Okay. You can go through the images because everything is available. What about your Plus course, Pernica? It is starting from tomorrow. I think 5:30 p.m. we have a class on tomorrow. Okay. Yes, tomorrow we have two 2-hour sessions. Okay. So please be live tomorrow on an academy for my plus class. And anyone who want to join it now, please subscribe to an academy using the referral code Dr. Cheshta YT. Please don't forget to use this referral code to avail the amazing discount in the form of 3 plus 1 or the reduction in the amount of the iconic subscription. Okay, I got only 3 months subscription. So, Sapolshki, when did you apply for that? Did you apply it today, Sapolshki? Did you apply it today or when did you apply the subscription? 3 days back. Did you renew it or you took it fresh? Anyone? Because I think you are having these subscriptions. So, okay, I'll check this and let you know. But I think this is still present. This is still present. Okay, so this will be, I think we have 3 plus 1 scheme going on right now. You still have 3 plus 1 Sapolshki. And please try to subscribe to this code as well. Okay. So bye bye and take care, all of you.